and welcome to Millennial Partners and the Business Leaders Digital Forum 2020. This interview series will focus on transformative leadership, especially in the COVID-19 crisis. Our guest here today is Manish, and welcome. Please do introduce yourself.
Thank you, Pearl. Thank you so much. I work for Al Shirawi Group. We are a 50-year old organization, a diversified conglomerate in Dubai, and I work as a group finance controller for one of their divisions known as ESG.
I see. Thank you, Manish. So, what was the immediate impact of COVID-19 on your line of work and the business?
Okay, so I mean, COVID has impacted everyone individually and also the businesses. So we are not an exception. Our businesses are impacted. While we are diversified, so we are into contracting, we are into manufacturing, we are into supply. We are also suppliers to manufacturing and contracting, and also have a service business which is predominantly, the facilities management. So some of our businesses, or I would say most of our businesses, are seriously impacted by 30 to 40% down in turnover. Some are even down by 80%. For example, we have a parking business, and now nobody is going anywhere. Nobody is going to the malls. Nobody is going to any other place. So the parkings are empty, and nobody needs any parking management anymore. So the parking business is down by 80%, as you can imagine. But the facility management on the other side is doing very well. They are doing more than 120%. So because we are diversified, we are collectively less impacted, but some businesses are more impacted than some others. But yes, there is a 30 to 40% impact both on the top line, and the bottom line impact is slightly higher.
As you said quite rightly, no one has escaped the impact of COVID-19. But yes, with a diversified portfolio, you're able to have somewhat of a buffer. Okay.
Yes.
So how would you classify some of the challenges specific to your industry? And do you believe that the management teams are adequately prepared to handle these?
So that's a good question, actually. When the pandemic hit, one of the things that we pride internally is we pride ourselves as an agile organization. We always keep our eyes and ears open, and we could see some, storm coming early in March. So we were one of the first organization to decide that we have to think of working from home. Okay, and this crisis is coming, and different countries, some countries are locking, some are not. But Dubai being an international city, we thought that the impact could be higher because the airports were still open and the flights were coming. So we were one of the first to decide that, okay, we will allow all our employees to work from home ahead of the government announcement. And luckily, a few years ago, we had an IT policy change where we said we are not buying any more desktop. Everybody will have a laptop. And that really helped, so that decision was so useful today that we were able to ask everyone to take their laptops home and work from home. And I think in this crisis, we have realized the importance of IT and the, IT savviness. And some of the things that we did in the past without knowing that COVID is coming has really helped us so very well. For example, just about a year back, we moved out of Microsoft technologies. So we said, except for few people in accounts who may need Microsoft licenses and Excel, entire organization was shifted to Google email, even for business, okay? Google Sheets, Google Workbook, sharing, because it allowed collaboration and sharing online, okay? And since we had done this 1 year before, it really helped us so much during this COVID, because we could share things online without depending on being at office, without depending on the office internet, and that really helped us. So IT preparedness, luckily we were quite prepared. I'll give you another example, which again, we did something without knowing COVID. We have 16 companies in my portfolio, and we have more than 5,000 supplier invoices every month that we need to pay from so many different suppliers. And 1 year back, we decided that we are going online. We don't want anybody to come and drop their invoices, hard copy to our office, just post it on our portal. And we kind of forced a lot of people, because there was a lot of resistance from small suppliers that no, we don't have the ability, we can't do it. But we forced it, and today they are happy because they could upload their invoices online, we could process them online, and we could transfer money online. Nothing stopped for us actually, as far as if I as a finance leader talk about, nothing really stopped even for a day.
Well, that is great to hear, and fortunate that so many things that you had done in advance ended up being so key to success, or managing through the COVID-19 crisis. And this does lead me into the next question. Digitization is so very important for the future of business. So you've touched on some of these points already. But again, so how is your business leveraging technology? I appreciate you've utilized Google to enable greater sharing and transfer of data, and also your online portal to enable more remote working and efficiency, but perhaps automation of critical manual tasks. How else have you leveraged technology to meet your needs?
Okay, again, I think technology is very, very important. There's a saying in our group, that saying has really grown nowadays, that every company is an IT company. So even if we are a manufacturing organization, one of the companies manufacturing, one in contracting, we have to think like we are an IT company, and we have to look at looking at every single areas in our businesses, what we can automate, what we can digitize. And there has been a real push. So for example, again, we are one of the front runner in implementing bot technology in the company. So there are a lot of reconciliation that used to be done manually, and it used to take a lot of time. Now this is done all automated. So we have had a very large, IT automation going on for almost 2 years drive, and we have been able to automate a large part of our day-to-day processing and routine tasks that we used to do manually. That has been fully automated. If not fully, at least 80% automated, so that we have to only review before we publish the data. So within accounts, I would say that when I joined this group 3 years back, we had 80 people. We are currently 60, and I see going down to 40. It's not in terms of headcount, it's not a great thing to say, because but I think the people who are leaving our group, they are going with a lot of experience, which they can transfer and add value to other organizations. So they are going with the experience of implementing some of the best in technologies that we are bringing in our group, and they go and do it somewhere else.
Well, exactly that. So with new technologies potentially come new skill set requirements. So what are some of the new and emerging skills that you feel are needed in this current climate?
I think I tell you what, skill sets and mindset, we need both. Okay. So we have realized that, now that so many people are leaving Dubai and forced to leave Dubai because the economy is down, and so people are leaving. And there is a thought that, we will need these people back after 3 months, 6 months, and what will happen then, So one of the most important thing here is to develop the people so that they can do multiple things instead of one thing. So in our contracting business, for example, if somebody is doing a particular job, he's a mason, can he do electrical work? Can he do something else? Can we multi-skill our people? We in the facility management business, we have done it very, very successfully. So we have we have developed an internal training institute within Al-Sirawi ESG group, wherein we are giving training to people on multiple tools and multiple skills. So I have more multi-skilled people than single-skilled people, and it's good for them and good for the company, because when I need more of mason, I can have more of mason. When I need more of electrical people, I have more of electrical people. This is one. So you need a change in skill set. You also need change in mindset. This has become very, very important during the COVID time. We have all realized that three things are so important. One being lean, because now you have to, people say COVID is here to stay. I would say disruption is here to stay. Every other year, every alternate year, you are going to see something or the other. World is somewhere some internal crisis, some war, some between the countries, or some other issue, economic issue, or this another virus. There could be anything. So we have entered into a time where there will be disruption of different types. So we need mindset change, which is to think lean in everything that you do. Okay, and agile, being agile in your mindset. If you are agile in your mindset, you can have an agile organization. And then being resilience. So because you don't know what crisis, you cannot prepare for every single crisis. We never thought that something like COVID will come, but we knew something else will come. So our IT readiness was for something else, but that became helpful during this time. So you have to be prepared that something can come which you have not thought, and you should be prepared. You should be prepared mentally, and you should have multiple skills so that you can change. Today so many people are losing job. I go to I get so many WhatsApp. You go to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn full of such stories. Okay, so people should be prepared to switch jobs. I see so many people from the airline industries getting laid off, or from hospitality getting laid off. Can they do something else? Yes, they can do something else. They can be a great social media person or something else. There's new opportunities also. So while existing opportunities are reducing, new opportunities are increasing. People need to have that mindset that okay, every few years we'll have to learn something new and get into something new.
True.
That is to be here.
Continuous learning is so beneficial. It's a win-win situation for both the business and the individual, most certainly. And trying to future-proof your business for a variety of potential scenarios will always put you in the best position. Okay, so with this new normal, how has the business operating model changed to adjust to the post-COVID-19 environment?
So you used the word future proofing, which we have been using within Al-Sirawi for 2 years. In multiple of our businesses, we had done a scenario analysis, and I'll tell you the genesis of this. Everybody was talking about 2020 and what will happen to construction industry after 2020, because a lot of businesses within UAE and Dubai are dependent on construction. So we had a strategy session in 2018, and we, internally worked out different scenarios that, okay, what happens if the business goes down 50% after 2020? Okay, and let's create some strategies. Those strategies led us to do the automation, led us to do so many things, and we are relatively better prepared. So today, I think we are thinking that okay, we have to be prepared for different type of disruptions, and being lean, being agile, being resilient, and being IT savvy. These are the 4 things that we are really working on. And as a group, I want to tell you that our group has done tremendous job, the top management, the board, and the CEO, in terms of giving people confidence during this time. Because initially, as we were fast in assessing the risk, we were also very fast in taking corrective measures. So we had to have we implemented layoff quite early, I would say. But at the same time, immediately after the first round of cuts that we did, we went back to our people. We held a townhouse, and we had multiple townhouses addressing thousands of people by the senior-most people in the organization, by the chairman who is 82 years old, and he was brought in to handle the crisis because in his life he has handled so many crises. Mm-hmm. So and we told people, because you have done a cut, a lot of people are afraid what is going to happen to them now, to their job, and we knew that the mental health is going to be a big issue now because people are worried on different fronts. And the first thing we announced was, we are not cutting anymore. We did what we had to do. That was the need of the hour because we had to save the ship. But we are not doing anything now for the next 6 months. You can relax. At least on this front, you can relax. Okay. Then we knew that the medical cost is going to go up. Our medical insurance policy was coming for renewal, and we improved our coverage. Instead of many companies trying to reduce the coverage and trying to reduce the cost, we said medical we are not cutting because you don't know when who will need what. So while we have cut down on overtime, we have cut down on so many things, we have not cut down on essentials. And the people who got laid off from our company and could not fly to their destinations and their countries because of the lockdown, we continue to provide them support in terms of accommodation and also in terms of food allowances. So this is what we have done. I am so thankful to the management and Al Sarawi board for approving this. I am not very old in this group. This group has people who have been working for 20, 25 years. I'm here for 3.5 years, but my respect for the group has really grown because I've seen their leadership during the crisis. And I'm not very old in Dubai. I came to Dubai in 2013, so I didn't really see the crisis of 2008. And I've always heard great things about Dubai from various people, how the leadership respond to the crisis. But I've seen it first time this time, and my respect for the UAE leadership has also grown similarly, because the way they have been able to anticipate and that the way they have handled the challenge and the crisis, it never became a human crisis as such, with so many people from so many different countries coming and staying in Dubai, they still managed it wonderfully well compared to many other countries in the world. So I think that way it has been a tremendous learning for me personally. And I think we are better prepared for the future, both as a country and my organization.
Of course, that is good to hear. And like you say, how you manage in a crisis is very telling when things aren't going your way, how you support your employees. And some really good takeaways that you've said several times here in terms of being lean, being agile, being IT savvy. These are all things that, to take note of would help you in the future if you're a small to medium enterprise or larger, in fact. So a couple more questions here. With the current climate, do you feel that the compulsions imposed now necessitate a more stringent KPI-driven approach to track metrics?
Okay, great question again. So I tell you, Al Sarawi as a group, we have an accounting year which is July to June. Okay, which is most companies you will see Jan to December in this part of the world, but we are July to June, and this is our year end, and we had to work on our annual plan for the next year. When the crisis hit in the month of March, April, May is the time when we do our budgets for the next year. Mm-hmm. And the management decided, no, given the kind of crisis that we are going through, it's not practically possible to plan for the next 12 months. You don't know how things are changing every day. Okay. And we decided that, okay, we are going to have a quarterly plan, not even half yearly. we are going to have a quarterly plan, and we are going to have KPI. We have been a KPI driven organization, but those KPI were decided considering, a steady kind of a business environment. In the current business environment, we needed to change the KPI. So we decided we will change the KPI for every single business head in my entire, so Allseravi has 45 businesses, and in my group I have 16 businesses. For 16 business heads, we reset their KPIs. So as I told you, we had to let go some people, and we also implemented the salary cuts for people, because we had to manage during this crisis. And we said, but we linked the salary cuts with the performance of the individual organizations. We told them, we invited all the people. And another, I think, the quality that Allseravi Group has, one of the basic is the transparency. So we brought in all the people, and we explained them the situation, and we told them that we're implementing this cut, but this cut will be taken away and will be monitored based on the KPIs that you achieve. You achieve your KPI, you get your cut back. Same month. Again, your KPI for the next month will be given. Again, you achieve, you will be given back. And I'm happy to tell you, out of 16 companies, 5 companies were able to successfully meet, all the KPIs. So we had KPIs on collection, for example, because, you have to pay the salaries. You have to pay your suppliers. We don't want to delay our supplier payments. We are not a company that believes in delaying supplier payments, because they have to pay their people their salaries. So we said, your first KPI is collection. Collect money, go out and collect, and explain to your customer, sit with him, explain him, do your Zoom meeting, and tell him how critical it is for him to pay us, so that we are able to pay our people. And similarly, we pay to our supplier. So we never stopped our supplier payments. We never delayed. If we had to delay, we agreed a date with our supplier that, okay, instead of on this date, on 10th, I'll be paying you on 15th. But not that unilaterally you hold any payment. That's not right. And so monthly KPIs on revenue, monthly KPIs on profitability, monthly KPIs on collection. We moved from an annual target to a monthly target, and monitored them month on month. And any business that was able to meet, if you meet 100%, you get this much cut back. If you meet 2 out of 3 criteria, you get this much back. So we implemented this. And I think now our mindset after implementing this for 4 months is that this is going to be here. We are going to have this KPI, monthly KPI driven culture for the next 12 months at least, because the uncertainties are so much in the market.
I see. Okay. And lastly, then, it would be great to hear what's on the horizon for you and the business.
Okay, so I strongly believe that the worst is behind us. My group management, the leadership believes that the worst is behind us, but the difficulty remains. And this difficult phase is not going to be a short term. So we were expecting a V-shaped recovery. Many people, we do not believe in the V-shaped recovery. We think it will be long term. Okay, there'll be ups and downs, but the worst is behind us. So we are now refocusing on, we are doing this quarterly reviews, quarterly budgets, quarterly plans, monthly KPI reviews, and we are now started looking at opportunities in the market. So while a lot of our businesses have suffered, they have lost not just the top line, but maybe some business was making money, now they're losing money. But we are refocusing, and we are looking at opportunities in the market. There are a lot of people in the market who do not have the kind of balance sheet strength that we have, the financial strength that we have, so that we will sustain this crisis. But a lot of people are not able to sustain. Can we acquire some business? Can we bring some businesses to work with us and grow with us in the future? So we are looking at multiple opportunities. We have reshaped a lot of our businesses and given them newer targets. We have been able to really reduce cost, not just in the manpower, but also because of the automation. And because of this crisis, a lot of people actually came together, within the organization. If you had silos, all the silos were broken. People actually came together because they knew that I will survive if the company survives. So people had to keep their individual egos in the side and worked as a team. Suppose we were working on a product development, which used to take 6 months. Now it is done in 2 months. So these are wonderful stories, great success stories that we have experienced. And we want to learn, keep these learnings with us and grow with those learnings.
Of course. Well, I have to say some great insights in this piece, Manish. Thank you so much.